When you think daily driver, certain words come to mind. Four-door, economical, cheap, practical. And while most would agree that these attributes make up a good daily driver, some people just say, "F it. I want to drive my dream car every day, and not just every day, but everywhere." From camping outdoors to Costco runs in the snow, all the way to the northernmost point in America, and now confined on the little rock in the middle of the Pacific, I meet an owner that isn't afraid of mileage and believes in making the most out of his dream car.
Hey, I'm Fred Plan. This is my daily driven 1995 Acura NSX. This one I found actually on Craigslist. It was like a single line in a Craigslist ad that said purple NSX. And my first thought was, who the f would do this to a beautiful car? Like, why would someone paint this purple? But I clicked it anyways, and I was like, that's not bad, actually. And I only learned later that it's actually a factory color. They only made about 40-ish of them, and in this color combination, and this was one of them. The previous owner did very little to the car. He too, I think, believed in like the purity of the car and the way Mother Honda made it. Thankfully, with an NSX, you don't really have to do much if you don't want to. I mean, it's pretty great to begin with. So when I started choosing modifications for the NSX, everything was about improving what I thought the NSX was already doing well, or at least making it customizable to the way I drove. So improving the braking, the handling, and in general, the suspension. So to do that, I chose KW V3 coilovers to replace the Bilstein iBot combo that was originally on the car. And I also chose to go with Stop Tech rotors and Hawk pads, which is a proven combination for the NSX. In terms of other suspension mods, again, everything was about daily drivability and improving what the NSX was already good at, especially as the car gradually became more and more of my regular driver. To help that, one of the biggest mods that really changed my experience with the NSX was an iLift Systems Cup kit. So why do I daily drive the NSX? Kind of a good question, because obviously when I got the car, I didn't really intend to. I still had the Legend at the time, and I was going to be practical about it. I was going to have a nice practical four-door luxury barge as my day-to-day car, and then I'd have a cool sports car to use on weekends, right? Or track events or what have you. So that was the plan. But then what happened was I'd take the NSX out and I'd love it. I felt like I couldn't save it for a special day. Like when you're driving an NSX, every day is a special day. And the car lived up to it, minus an ignition switch issue early on in the car's life. Right? In my mind, that little ignition switch issue, that made the car 90%. Once I had that fixed, the car was 100%. Started every time, drove every time, easy to drive. Everything was great. The car lived up to Honda's intentions, and it became my everyday car. I found myself driving the car to work, to car meets, to Cars and Coffee, to McDonald's, to Costco. I would take longer and longer routes to and from work. I would go out of my way to find places to take pictures, with a car in front of cool stuff. And it just ballooned from there. And I found I was spending all my time with the NSX instead of what should have been my daily driver. People go, oh, you can't daily drive an NSX, it's not practical. You can do anything if you put your mind to it, right? But the main thing that I think sets me apart from other NSX owners is that for me, the ownership has focused more on my experience with the car and me taking the car places and me enjoying the car and trying to eke out, I guess, the value of the car as it was versus me trying to turn the car into something. Other cars that I've driven in the past, or the couple of cars that I'd owned before, they were always like a car that I'd get into and pretty quickly found that I had met the limits of what that car was about, right? So with my Infiniti G20, it was like that, right? And then maybe here you could pretend there's like different graphs like there is in a video game, you know, acceleration, handling, braking, or whatever it is, and there's limits, and I found myself very quickly hitting those limits. And then with my Legend, you know, it was a bigger circle, and mods took that a little further in different directions, but soon I found myself, you know, meeting those limits too. And with the NSX, once I decided, hey, this is something I'm gonna go towards, I felt like the circle was just so much bigger, you know, in all these different ways, in handling and braking and reputation, and in what the car stood for, and the community that was part of the car. There's so much more to it, and I was just like a little tiny dot within that. To be honest, I'm really happy with the way the car is now. It's the car I wanted, how I wanted it, and I really believe that the design choices and the way the car was made is really the best way the car is. I mean, obviously I'm not a purist. I've modified the car a little bit, but there's not really that much more I want to do with it. I'm saying that, but then like watch, like next year or something, I'll be like, oh, you should see my twin turbo kit, or, you know, look at all this, like, you know, weight reduction I've done. I don't know, who knows? Who knows? I mean, the car has taken me in all these different directions, and it's taken me so far. Who knows what the car has in mind for me.